Thank you for being patient and allowing me time to get everything online in here. We got some technical issues going on, but it's not going to stop us. Welcome to all of you to Tuesday Leadership Tips with Lita. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the fourth Tuesday of the month. Just by way of announcements before we jump in, next month, May, we're back to the second and the fourth Tuesdays. Second and fourth Tuesdays for the month of May. So this is the fourth Tuesday of April, and I'm excited. I want to know how many of you all applied what we talked about last week. We talked about being consistent. This is so important because people pay attention to what you do consistently. People, not only do they pay attention to it, after a while, if it's something that is productive, if it is something that is producing fruit, if you will, they will emulate you. So if you've been applying what we talked about last week, and if you're here for the first time and you have not seen that one, I encourage you to go to my IG channel and check out last Tuesday's TLT with Lita. So today, while y'all, let me check you out in the chat here. While you all are coming in, I want to encourage you that as you are coming in, get ready, put your seatbelt on a little bit because sometimes it gets a little tight in TLT with Lita. It gets a little tight, but it's is all in love and it's all for the sake of growth. It is for the sake of making us better as leaders. And that's the vibe. Let's get better. Let's grow together. So today's leadership tip is this. Let's go from consistency to discipline. All of us know, I hope we know. If we don't, I'll just say it like this. You can't be consistent until you discipline yourself to do what you do consistently. You need to. You need the consistency, but you need the discipline in order to keep doing when even when you don't want to do it, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's not even conducive or comfortable for you to do it. And so what I said was that last time we talked about this consistency, meaning showing up the same way over time. And that's important because people are watching you. They're watching what you do consistently. And let's be honest about this consistency thing. Consistency feels good when you're motivated, but when you're tired, when you're frustrated, or if you're just over it. If we just be real about it today, can we be real? If we're just over, all of the hoopla, we're over the noise, we're over the different things that happen throughout a day, throughout a week, throughout a month. We're just over it. And when we get to that place, this is where discipline comes in. We need that discipline because consistency starts the habit, but discipline sustains it when your emotions fade. Discipline sustains what you've been doing consistently over time when you don't feel like it anymore. And all of us run into that moment, and sometimes moments over periods of years and a lot of time. Sometimes we really just don't feel like it. And I want to normalize that for us because it doesn't mean that you're not the leader that you believe you are. It doesn't mean that you're not able to do what you set out to do concerning your vision, concerning your values, and the various things that you have put in place, your habits. It doesn't mean that you're not the greatest at what you do. It just means you're human. And when you're human, sometimes we go through things. We go through times where we just don't feel like it. We go through times where we just over it. And it is in those times where the discipline has to kick in. This session that we're having today is to help us to stop depending on motivation. Motivation is good while it lasts, but let's be honest. It doesn't go on like forever and ever and ever. There are times when the motivation fades. So I want to help us as leaders build that emotional and behavioral discipline that we need when we just don't feel like it anymore. And so we want to lead at a high level. Does that mean you got to be running around hype and doing cherry pickers and stuff like that? No, that's not what I mean. I'm not talking about um, high level, meaning that you're necessarily hyped all the time, but sometimes it's inconvenient and you can still be leading at a high level. And when you're leading at that high level, people are especially watching you. They're watching you because you're a high level, high energy, high high level in such a way that when they look at you as the standard for going higher. They look at you as that one who is elevated. And so it's important that when motivation fades, that you have that discipline. So let's talk about it for a moment. Have you ever just felt like I'm over this? I mean, especially if you've been doing something for a long time and you feel like you're not getting the results that you think you should be seeing. How did you handle it when you felt like I'm over this? How did you handle it? Somebody be brave and put it in the chat and tell me how you handled that. And if you handled it in a way where you said, you know what, I feel this way, but I'm not going to show up this way. Some days we feel like leading. We really feel like it. Like I will use yesterday for an example. I was so hyped. My mindset was on 1,000. I was like, let's go. And then there are other days where I was feeling like, you know, I got to tap into my discipline. I've disciplined myself to do X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to do that, but I'm not really feeling it. That's what happens in real time, in real life as a leader. It is not, ladies and gentlemen, about how we feel. It's about how we show up anyway. And when we show up anyway, we show up at a high level. We show up with this thing. I call it the thing. We have the thing going on inside where no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, I'm showing up and I'm going to show up at my best and I'm going to show up and change the atmosphere of my business, of my workspace, of the place that I have to go every day. I'm going to change the atmosphere because I'm coming in on a high level. And that's what we're going to leave this session with today. Knowing how to do that, knowing how to do it over and over and over and over again. And when you can do it, when you don't feel like it, you will watch your team, you will watch your colleagues, you will watch those who are watching you start showing up at a high level too. So, you showing up at a high level is not in vain. It's not something that you're just faking it till you make it. It's actually you growing, it's you being an example and demonstrating what it looks like to be consistent and to be disciplined at your trade, at that thing that you show up to do every day. And the room will feel you. The business will feel you. Things will start shifting because you shifted. I see you, Dr. Campbell. He says, I want to share this because I just think this is awesome. He says, every day I have to remind myself that my purpose and my calling is greater than my mind. So, on reflecting on my thoughts, I tell myself that we are not going to subscribe to the complacent version. That's so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. He says the version that will accept the status quo. See, he's not going to show up like that. And listen, y'all, that's what a top leader does. That's what a leader who has decided that no matter what it looks like, my vision is in front of me. I know where I'm going, I know where I'm at, and I'm going to be consistent and disciplined enough to get there. And everybody around him, I guarantee it. I don't even have to be there to see it. Everybody around you will be looking, and not only will they be looking, they'll be trying to figure out how they can do it the way you do it. He says, I tell myself, no, I will not stay here with you. I need change. Oh, so powerful. Listen, y'all. Are y'all hearing what I just read? If y'all are hearing that, I want y'all to know this is real time. This is a top leader who is leading in his trade and who is telling us secrets of how he shows up every day even when he doesn't feel like it. Even when we don't feel like being patient, ladies and gentlemen, our emotional intelligence has to kick in for us. It has to kick in because just because we don't feel a certain way or don't want to be bothered, if you will, it doesn't mean we get to check out. It doesn't mean that we get to brush people off because sometimes you are the only lifeline they have. You're the only lifeline. So let's talk about it real quick. The problem with motivation is this. The problem is motivation is inconsistent. But when you are disciplined, discipline says, even when I'm not motivated, we're going to do this. Another thing that is a problem about motivation is that it is emotional. Remember, we're emotionally intelligent leaders. We don't just fly off the handle. We're not up and down, in and out, back and forth with our emotions. We manage them well. And Dr. Campbell says that's when we build the version of ourselves that we truly desire. Yes. Motivation comes and goes. If we lead based on motivation, our tone will shift, our efforts will fluctuate, our team will feel the inconsistency if we lead by motivation alone. That's why we need discipline. And the truth is this, motivation starts things. Like I said, motivation feels good when you're motivated. But it's your discipline that's going to sustain the things that you start. It's your discipline. So think about in your own personal life, in your own leadership. Even if you're just leading yourself, you still need discipline. If you are thinking about your own life, think about what areas in your life that you are only operating in motivation, but you're not disciplined. And he said, Dr. Campbell said something so key. He says, we have to become comfortable with uncomfortable. Oh, that's so powerful. You got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that is 100%, 1000% truth. Because if you are trying to bring a vision to pass, get ready to be uncomfortable. And you have to be comfortable with that. He's so right. And he says the team learns by watching and observing, not what we tell them. Hmm. Yes, absolutely. Yes, that is so true because people watch what we do more than they hear what we say. Because there's a whole lot of people, and I've run across a lot of them. whether it was in the military or not. I've run across a lot of leaders that they said a lot, but when I observed with my eyes, they didn't do what they were talking about. And I watched what they did more than I heard what they said. And it's important, y'all, that you are not just talking and never demonstrating and never showing action, never leading the people where you want them to go and where you want them to be. It's so important because if they can't see you doing it, they won't believe or they won't buy in to what you're doing. They'll have no buy in. So, discipline is a decision, it's not an emotion. Disciplined leaders don't wait to feel ready. I didn't feel like working out this morning, y'all, but the discipline that I have built in myself, whether I feel like it or not, I'm going to this gym and I'm going to work out because I decided to in advance. I made a decision that this is my goal, this is my lifestyle, this is how I'm going to live this thing. There are certain things that I do in my business that this is what I've already disciplined myself to do. That if I don't have what I think I have, if I'm not where I think I should be, I'm disciplined to keep showing up every day and doing what I do. I'm disciplined for that. So you have to, we talked about this a little bit last week about deciding beforehand. So you got to decide your behavior when it comes to your discipline. You got to decide how you're going to respond under stress, how you're going to communicate when you're frustrated, how you're going to lead when things go wrong. You got to have already made your mind up that even if the worst happens, this is how I'm going to respond to it. Because discipline is choosing your behavior before the moment chooses it for you. You're choosing before it chooses for you. And the truth of the matter is that life can happen. Circumstances can happen. Things can go wrong. Things can go completely right. But you still need to choose your behavior before the moment chooses you. So don't debate with yourself in a moment because you already decided. Remove the negotiation. I know sometimes it's tempting. It's tempting to negotiate in your own mind. That's why we got to know what we're thinking. We got to think about what we're thinking about. Don't negotiate with yourself if you've already decided this is how you're going to do it. If you've already decided, I'm going to stay calm. If you've already decided, I'm going to communicate clearly, then communicate clearly. Don't negotiate in your own mind. Don't assume people know what you have in your head. We don't read minds. But when we speak, the communication brings clarity. Decide already that you're going to lead with respect, even if people disrespect you. Decide that ahead of time. Let it be known that when you show up, they know exactly who's going to show up. They're not confused. They're not trying to figure it out. They're not guessing. They're not apprehensive because they don't know who's going to show up today. People need to know not only are you consistent, but that you're disciplined. You're disciplined in the things that you have already decided to do as the leader. So let's talk a little bit about emotional discipline when you're under pressure. Because pressure will come especially if you are one who is trailblazing something that has never been done before. You will meet the opposition. The fear will come. You'll have doubts, but you got to know that emotionally, how you're going to perform what you're going to do when you are under pressure. This is where your leadership is really tested when you're under pressure. It's not really tested when everything's going well and everything's going the way you want it to go. It's not really tested then. It's tested when you get pressure in the areas where you're trying to push through. So, this emotional discipline is important because disciplined leaders don't let their emotions control their tone. Disciplined leaders don't let stress dictate their behavior. Disciplined leaders don't let pressure lower their standards. Oh, that last one is so important. You cannot let the pressure cause you to lower your standards, to allow things to happen that you would not normally allow to happen if everything was going optimally. You can't allow it. Don't lower the standards because you don't have the revenue you think you should have. Don't lower the standards because you don't have spaces or areas that you need employees that aren't there yet. Don't lower your standards, even if it's you alone and you're a solopreneur. Don't lower the standards because if you lower them for yourself, you'll lower them when you get a team of people. So don't lower your standards. Your leadership is not proven in the easy moments, y'all. It's revealed in the hard ones. Sometimes I wish I could just, really, really say some things, but there's some things I cannot say as it relates to the other portion of my business being of the nature of it. But what I want to say to you is this: in those hard moments, that's when you really show people who you are. That's when you really show up in a way that's unforgettable. You will know that you have shown up in a way that changed the room because the next time you come into that room, people will start looking to you for answers, for opinions, for opportunities. They'll start looking to you for these things that they didn't see before. But when they saw how you reacted, when they saw how you responded, then they said, wait a minute. I need to get with this person. I need time with that person because they have a level of wisdom that I didn't have. They have something that I need in my organization. And that's all I really can say about that, but it's important. It's important. You never know who's listening, who's watching, who is looking or searching for that one person. You never know who that is. So never take it for granted when you walk into a room, even though you may not really have any skin in the game in the room that you're in. But when you walk in, things change. When you walk in, people start taking notice and they want to know who you are and how they can get in contact with you. So, how you discipline yourself emotionally, not only does it count within your organization, within your business, it counts when you are, I would say, collaborating in other people's businesses. It's important. It's important. So, choose patience when you're irritated. And if I tell the truth, we all get irritated sometimes. We all get irritated when situations and circumstances happen, and especially if they've happened more than once or twice. Sometimes we do get irritated, but choose patience. Stay composed when you're challenged, regardless of what's unclear. Lead with clarity when things feel chaotic. Reassure your people that you are clear, regardless of what's going on around it, or maybe even what may have happened that was unexpected. You stay clear. You stay clear, keep the team clear, keep everybody clear about where you're going, where you're leading them. All right. So let's talk about how this discipline builds leadership power. Oh, this is so important. When you become disciplined, your team trusts you more. When you become disciplined, your influence increases, your environment stabilizes, your results improve. And you can even see that even if you look at someone who works out, you can see the change sometimes before they see the change. That as they have been disciplined and consistent in what they are doing, you will notice the change. You will see the improvements. And so it is that way as a leader. Your people will trust you more. You'll trust yourself more. You'll gain more influence. Your environment will become more stable and you will see the results. Consistency earns attention, discipline earns respect. Ah, I want to say that again. Consistency earns attention, discipline earns respect. People respect somebody who's disciplined and they show up. So now you have my attention and my respect. And this is how it will look for your team. They will give you their undivided attention and they will have the utmost respect for you because you are consistent and you are disciplined. So this week, it's only Tuesday, y'all. It's only Tuesday. You still got the rest of this week to work this thing. So this week, identify one area where you rely on motivation more than discipline. One area. Identify the area. Then replace it with a clear discipline standard. Replace it like this. For example, if you were just motivated to work out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, now I want you to replace it with the discipline to work out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Replace it with a clear discipline standard. And if you're going to replace it, instead of being motivated to work out, have a workout plan. Discipline yourself to do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you have areas in your business where you need to train your team, you need to prepare them to be able to handle more. If you've just been relying on their motivation, replace it with a clear discipline standard for your team. That clear discipline standard could be when we come in the mornings, the first thing we do is we finish anything that was started the day prior. Or it could be anything in any area. It could be, okay, we make sure that we look into our emails or whatever we need to look at, and we find the things that are urgent. And we take care of urgent matters first. And then we move to the secondary items that we need to work on. Whatever that clear discipline standard is, replace that motivation that you had. Replace it with a clear discipline standard. And then the last thing is, of course, you got to follow through. You got to follow through. You can't just do it one week and stop. You got to follow through. Discipline yourself to be able to do this thing until completion. And as you are identifying that one area that you've just been motivated and replace that with a clear discipline standard, follow through. And if you're brave enough, if you want to help another leader, drop it in the comments of this live and hashtag lead with Lita and then hashtag discipline leader. All right, y'all. So I want to leave you with this thought. This thought is, I think, pretty plain and clear, but I want you to kind of sit in it. Sit in it, think about it. Make it practical for your life. And that thought is this: motivation will inspire you. The motivation, it will inspire you, but the discipline will transform you. And the question is, do you want to be inspired or do you want to be transformed? So you are the game changers. You are the discipline leaders. You are the ones who are going to transform your organization, transform your life, transform whatever area you are leading in. It's you. You're the one, not somebody else. You're the one who's going to bring transformation. So, do you want to be inspired or do you want to be transformed? You choose. All right, y'all. Well, that concludes our time for Lead with Lita and Tuesday Leadership Tips with Lita. So if you have any questions or any other value that you want to add, thank you so much, Dr. Campbell, for just the tremendous value that you added to this live. And those of you who are on, that's been just chiming in or tuning in rather to this live, thank you for joining us. And as I always say, share this live with another leader, share it with someone who needs this conversation. And don't forget to do the challenge. Make sure you do it. I want to see you transform. I want to see your businesses transform. I want to see what you do transform into something that you never dreamed it would. All right, y'all. Let's see if we got any. Aw, I appreciate that. I think your handle is Blue Flowers on TikTok. I appreciate that. You do. And I want you to know you do have gifts. All of us have gifts, and it is up to us to activate them. We thank God for all of just the comments that you all have shared. I'm grateful and thankful for you sharing your gift and sharing your leadership and helping the community as a whole become better leaders. Let's see, did I miss any? All right, y'all. Well, y'all don't forget to do the challenge. Again, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for joining me. And I look forward to the next time. Remember, May 2nd Tuesday, 4th Tuesday. Until next time, peace, y'all.